The ball fields are actually even shown in their same configuration. The one change is that we're proposing that this field to the west would actually be, well, both fields will be improved, but this field would actually have a little bit of grade work done so that we could get a little bit more space to make it a little closer to full size and give us a little bit more flexible use space. Maybe even after we've done some grading, we incorporate some stormwater or some LID, low impact development type functions, rain gardens, that type of thing for some of our stormwater uses. Just adjacent to the eastern ball field would be an off-leash area, so kind of in the base of that slope area in there. And just adjacent to that, on all of the schemes, this space right here is already occupied or will be occupied by a rain garden designed by SPU. And so we're hoping to work with them and integrate that into whatever we come up with as a group, as a design. Viewpoints, really key to have viewpoints. So there's a couple over on this side and a couple dotted in here. Small gathering spaces, maybe 5 people to 10, 12 people. So think about that. You'll see some contrast in the other concepts. The access to the vaults, what we've tried to do is hide it, so you see the loop path all the way around, and that's going to be a common theme on all the concepts. Of course, we've got to get the vehicles to those, but we want to kind of mask it a little bit so it's more of a pedestrian way that vehicles get to use rather than a road that pedestrians get to walk on. And we're able to tuck in interesting little things like maybe back at an edge like this, we showed a labyrinth. And then even in this sloped area, the idea that maybe this is where we could do some skate elements or something like that. So kind of takes you through the highlights. Oh, and all of these, we do think about the perimeter too. This being the existing Roosevelt edge, which is quite nice, and then expanding some of these edges around to finish the park off and give it that completed look. So, so this park really does respond quite well to the existing site, the existing context. Kind of really works with a lot of the elements that are there. So we'll move into the next one.
I want to clap. I think it is an outstanding design. I can't do this all the time, but I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
Yes.
So comments. We'll do the same thing, run through a few slides, and then we'll show you what we're thinking with that. So, comments. The inspiration behind this scheme is your community. What we did is we said, what would happen if we looked at the neighborhood and the circulation patterns that occur? And we feel that there's a lot of interest if people are out there meeting, walking. What if we extended that into the park itself? And so we drew all of these connecting lines, and these are streets and alleys and connectors through. And interesting enough, there's 3 that really become dominant. Of course, on Roosevelt, whoops, blew that one. Roosevelt, of course, is a real good strong through connector. It's interesting at 85th, we could actually get across the park. And one other one that was a little bit of a surprise is coming in through the little gateway at the north, and that connects all the way through the gatehouse and the little roundabout that's on the south side and through. So those red lines represent some interesting paths that actually could take you across the park for circulation. So kind of basing it more on the grid of the neighborhood and the character. The idea is respecting the scale of your neighborhood, the house, the rhythm and the pattern, the massing, the types of buildings, and creating some rooms throughout the park for activities. So we tried to contrast this, and this will hopefully get you thinking about what you really like and what don't you like. You'll notice that probably the most obvious thing is that the athletic fields, boy, I don't know how to use this thing. The athletic fields have been moved onto the lid. And so that gave us this gathering space for the community down here. So we've sort of switched things around. The Roosevelt Edge is a very strong edge with a lot of repeated elements, again, to replicate that scale of the businesses and the homes and the existing amenities in the neighborhood. And we have the kids' play area located here adjacent to a gathering space and a shelter, more smaller scale gathering spaces. Possibly the skate could be along the edge out here. There's the existing restroom and the existing pergola, the artwork, gazebo or arbor. Two gathering spaces and shelters down in this end. There's the existing gatehouse, and so we've sort of given it a formal setting by framing it with some walkways. Don't think we can get rid of the chain link fence, but we'd like to try. The idea of maybe starting to do something with this hillside and incorporating an amphitheater. There is an existing stair here. We do understand that it's going to get taken out because of some utility work that has to be done, but maybe we can reconnect if we wanted to. We have the viewpoint, again, in this corner is a very important view area. And this concept does go in and shows tennis courts and multi-use sports courts, so giving some flexibility and some different kinds of uses that we could have there. And kind of softening it, it's a little bit of a very tight grid, so the idea of a loop path system that would actually kind of give you the ability to do something on a little bit softer nature around the perimeter. So, and then lots of opportunities for different kinds of trees or gardening, planting, that type of thing. So we're going to keep moving because I was told I only had 10 minutes and I think I probably just used it up. So Vista. So again, I'll kind of help these slides along a little bit here since we want to move, get you guys into your breakout groups, but we'll jump in and take a look at these. So what's more inspiring than being the second highest point in Seattle and having the views to prove it? So we thought that we would model a scheme around those views, and thus the name of this one is being Vista. Again, some of the things are back into familiar places, but you do notice a reconfigured ball field space down here where we've actually oriented them together and creating sort of a little plaza and some gathering space for ball field activities. We still have that expansive area to actually play and do other things. The idea of relocating the skate park into, or relocating, or locating a skate park in this area within this very active core of the park. The kids' play area is occupying somewhat the same area, but then the idea of what about some environmental play or something interesting that actually starts to take advantage of that slope, and that slope just sort of follows that line right across there. Up in the major portion of the park is where we start to use the views and the vistas to organize, and you can kind of see where we've opened up view corridors through the existing vegetation to give those views and create a lot of different gathering spaces for people to sit. All of these spaces in between could be places where people could gather, and then a major viewpoint out here on this corner with those views towards the water, the city, and the mountains. Maybe some interesting things, maybe some sculptural elements. We call this a view mound. And then the Roosevelt Edge again, where we put our highest intense use, where we expect a lot of gathering to take place. So there's a shelter, a plaza, and these two areas adjacent to it might be areas for gardens of certain types, or maybe there's water elements, water play, something along that line. I think that gets us through the highlights of that one. So what I've done is a lot of the things that were unique to each of these schemes, and this list is the things that are common or could be common to all of these schemes. This list will be in each of your breakout groups, so you can go, as you go down. This came right out of the comments and the notes that we took in the last meeting. And so all of the things, and I think in the interest of time, I won't read the entire list, because you'll have it in your breakout groups, so we'll get you going to groups sooner. So.